The little boy looked up with wide eyes, barely tall enough to reach the man's elbow. Before we continue, please take some time to subscribe to Dailydose, like, and share this video. "Excuse me," he said, tugging lightly at the fabric of the man's uniform. "Are you Santa Claus?" The man, tall, imposing, still as stone, didn't answer, but the boy didn't give up. He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small, crumpled piece of paper. "If you are, this is my list." And then something unexpected happened. The man looked down. Slowly, deliberately, he opened his palm and took the note. The boy's mouth dropped open. A magical pause hung in the air. Could it really be him? It wasn't Santa Claus. The man was a U.S. Marine. And the scene wasn't from real life. It was from a Toys for Tots commercial released in 1997. But the spirit of the moment, the kindness, the silent promise to protect and provide was very real. And it's alive and well in Marines like Private First Class Matthew Morgan, who turned a simple triathlon in Florida into a moment no one would ever forget. Each year, Pensacola Beach hosts the Sea Turtle Youth Triathlon, a challenging but inspiring event for kids ages 7 to 15. It's a full triathlon, scaled for youth but every bit as demanding. 150 yards of swimming in the Gulf of Mexico, a 4-mile bike ride, and a grueling 1-mile run along a closed road. Volunteers help make it all happen, monitoring the course and ensuring the safety of the young athletes. Among those volunteers that year were 22 young Marines from Corey Station. They were new to the area, but eager to serve in any way they could. Their commander, Captain Frank Anderson, saw the event as the perfect opportunity to instill the values of the Corps. Among the volunteers was Private Matthew Morgan. Originally from San Diego, he had only recently moved to Florida. On that warm day, Morgan stood along the running course, watching as wave after wave of kids sprinted past him, each one determined to prove themselves. He smiled. It was a good day. Then, something shifted. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw a child fall. He rushed forward instinctively. The boy, 11-year-old Ben Bolts, had gone down hard right in the middle of the course. At first, Morgan thought it was a trip or a cramp. But then he saw the leg. Ben's prosthetic had come loose. The mechanical limb lay twisted beside him on the pavement. "I made it there first," Private Morgan later recalled. He had already regained his composure and was trying to fix it. Morgan knelt beside him. "You need help?" he asked gently. But Ben wasn't done. "No," the boy replied, his voice shaking but sure. "I just want to finish the race." Ben's story is one of quiet heroism. At age 6, he was diagnosed with bone cancer. Doctors had no choice but to remove the fibula and tibia in his right leg. But once he was cleared of the disease, Ben didn't retreat from life, he ran toward it. With the help of a specialized prosthetic and a fierce sense of determination, he dove headfirst into sports, soccer, baseball, and his true passion, triathlons. This was Ben's third triathlon. He had already conquered the swim and the bike ride. He was halfway through the final mile when the screw holding his leg in place came loose. He collapsed, but he didn't cry. He didn't panic, he just tried to fix it. Back at the finish line, Ben's mother Kim paced nervously. "It was only a mile," she told reporters later, "but I knew something was wrong. I kept thinking, where is he? Where is he?" Then, over the loudspeaker, came the voice of the event announcer. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, his voice full of emotion, "turn around. Look at what's happening on the course." The crowd turned, and what they saw made time stop. There, jogging down the course, was Private Morgan. On his back was Ben, arms wrapped loosely around the Marine's neck. Surrounding them were the other Marines, running in formation, forming a protective, unified circle. The crowd erupted. Applause, cheers, tears people lined the path and clapped until their hands stung. Kim Bolts broke down in sobs. "It was just very touching," she said later. That the Marines were there. For Captain Anderson, it was no surprise. "We're selfless as an institution," he explained. "In the Marine Corps, putting others before ourselves is second nature." But what touched him most was how naturally Morgan had stepped up. No orders, no hesitation, just heart. "It's great to see Marines don't leave anyone behind brought to life in our youngest members," Anderson said. "It speaks volumes." "And what about Ben?" He was a little embarrassed at first. "I didn't want to be carried," he confessed to his mom later. "I wanted to finish on my own." But everyone, his parents, the Marines, the cheering crowd, knew the truth. He did finish. "He never gave up," Morgan said. "As far as I'm concerned, that boy completed every single step. And he's not done." Ben's already planning for his next triathlon, determined to improve his time and make it across that finish line with his own 2-feet-tone reel, one mechanical, both full of heart. His mom put it best. "We just want him to live fully, to participate in life. He will. And the memory of a Marine's selfless act will forever remind him that strength isn't always about the body. It's about the will to keep going no matter what." The image of Ben on Private Morgan's back made its way onto local news first. A small headline in the Pensacola Gazette read, "Marine helps young boy finish triathlon, a modest recognition." But then the photo was picked up by a national outlet. Then another, and another. Soon, millions had seen it. The image showed the back of the Marine in full stride, Ben clinging to him tightly, his eyes wide with determination, as the crowd clapped in the background. It wasn't just a heartwarming story, it was a reminder of something many people had forgotten, the quiet power of human kindness, the kind that doesn't ask for cameras or credit, the kind that moves instinctively when someone falls. Private Morgan didn't expect the attention. In fact, he wasn't even aware the photo had gone viral until one of his fellow Marines showed him on their phone a week later. His response? "I just did what any Marine would do." But for Ben, it was life-changing. The story reached a charity organization that provides adaptive athletic equipment for young athletes with disabilities. Within 2 weeks, Ben had a new high-performance running leg designed for competitive events. It was lighter, faster, and more secure built to handle everything he could throw at it. When the prosthetic arrived, Ben refused to wait. He strapped it on and started jogging in the driveway. His mom watched from the porch, crying again, but this time from joy. The Sea Turtle Triathlon invited him back the following year, this time as a guest speaker. He stood on a small podium beside Private Morgan, who had returned to now a corporal. Ben told the crowd, "I used to think finishing alone was the most important thing, but sometimes it's okay to be carried, as long as you don't quit." The applause was thunderous. But the story didn't end there. Ben and Matthew kept in touch. What had begun as a moment of help between strangers grew into something deeper. They'd talk on the phone every few weeks. Sometimes they met for lunch when Matthew was off duty. When Ben had surgery to adjust his prosthetic, Morgan visited the hospital, bringing a handmade gift, a small wooden plaque engraved with the words, "Never Left Behind." Ben kept it on his bedroom wall, and when Ben turned 13, he surprised his family by announcing he wanted to become a Marine. "I want to help people the way he helped me," he said. His mom blinked back tears. "You already do," she whispered. The Marines' core values, honor, courage, and commitment, aren't just words on paper. They live in the quiet moments, the split-second decisions that define character. For Private Morgan, that moment was a boy on a broken leg. For Ben, it was choosing to rise again, with help, instead of giving up. It wasn't the first time a Marine helped someone cross a finish line. Back in 2013, another viral story captured hearts when Corporal Miles Kerr slowed down during a 5K in Michigan to help a 9-year-old boy who had gotten separated from his group. Kerr encouraged him every step of the way, crossing the finish line together. When asked why he did it, Corporal Kerr said simply, "I don't think I'm a hero. I was just trying to help." That phrase echoed in Matthew Morgan's voice too. "I just wanted him to finish." And that's what real heroes say, not because they don't understand the weight of their actions, but because they carry it lightly. By the time the next triathlon rolled around, Ben had trained for months. He was stronger, taller, and more confident. When the race began, he dove into the Gulf with more power than ever before. He surged through the bike course, gripping the handlebars with focus. And when he reached the final mile of the run, the very stretch where he had once fallen, he didn't slow down. This time, he crossed the finish line on his own, his arms lifted in triumph, his new leg gleaming in the Florida sun. But standing in the crowd, quietly smiling, was the Marine who had once carried him not because Ben needed him, but because someone always should. After the race, Ben walked straight into the crowd, sweat on his brow, lungs heaving, but his smile beaming. The first person he hugged was his mom, who held him tightly, whispering how proud she was. Then he turned and walked over to Matthew Morgano, Sergeant Morgan standing, just a few feet away, clapping quietly. Without a word, Ben threw his arms around him. They stood there for a moment, no cameras, no microphones, just the silence of mutual respect between a boy who never quit and the man who wouldn't let him fall. "You didn't carry me this time," Ben said, half laughing. "You didn't need me to," Morgan replied, "but I still knew you were there. And that was it. Sometimes heroes don't wear capes. Sometimes they don't even know they're heroes."